button and I actually go live. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being there, wherever you are. That's the great thing about this show, being all mega worldwide and stuff, is that you beautiful people are spread out all over the planet. And that's going to get stranger and more interesting over the next couple of decades. That's right. That everything new is old again, or however that works. Welcome to the show. Thank you for gathering on a holiday. I appreciate it. Thank you guys who showed up this morning for the morning show. It was a lovely time to spend with you guys. And we have a lot to cover today. We have so much to cover. So very much to cover. And I've honestly, hold on. I have to get through a commercial, I think, before I can bring this first one. I do. Yep, that's right. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, we welcome everybody, settle in. I'll give you a second to kind of gather your thoughts, gather your spirit, and just understand. Oh, quit it.
Well,
I didn't nothing. All right. It's getting too loud too quick. By God. It is Motang Monday. That is true. Voila, everyone. If you were able to join us also on the, where is it? There it is. If you were able to join us,
Michigan gave us Motang.
On Saturday night, we did the live Trump rally, which was every bit as rehashed, boring, sad, and pathetic as every other one. And it's just, there's a certain kind of glow that I get when we watch these things. Just knowing that the people who are trying to convince other people that this is the dude, that Trump is the man, and he's coming back with a vengeance. He's going to turn this whole thing around, and he's going to undo what's been done. And also, he's been president this whole time, so everything that's awful has happened is both part of his plan, letting Biden do it, and also things he's legally signed off on. I don't know what the hell. Sometimes the conspiracy gets so knotted up. I mean, don't get me started on. Has anybody tried to unpeel the onion of COVID thought these days on these folks? It was a fake disease in the first place, but the Chinese created it and attacked us with it. And it was a real attack with a fake weapon, but the virus is not as bad as is just a pretext for the vaccine, which is terrible, which Trump created and should get credit for, but is also an international plot to depopulate the earth. This is my sister, my daughter, my COVID, my vaccine, I don't know where the hell they get this. It's just shit. So it is a lot of shit. It's just a lot of hilarious shit. So, and Gavin Newsom is a clone. That's true. I mean, well, we should do a compilation of just the people that Right Side had to interview at this shit fest. Oh my God. Oh God. Derpapalooza over here. So here it is. This is, so the one thing we didn't do, and are people not watching? Is that do I have to come to this realization that as big as our crowd is getting and as popular as the show is getting and all the hard work I put in, were they not here last year when the majority of you that are with us, and bless you for sticking in there and subscribing and being with us the entire time, were there when I explained the Blacks for Trump, folks? And I actually, on one of the early, extra shows where I was just like, I'll throw in an extra show, we made sort of a semi-deep dive. I can't go completely into it because talk about violating all the TOSs of every social media thing that I'm on. If I played any of the videos from the Blacks for Trump website, done. Straight up, just snuff films and just, it's like the faces of death, but somehow the Indian people are responsible. It's just amazing. And their alignment with the Moors, not the real Moors like in history, but the Moorish Americans who believe that they're really they're the real America, and that black people in the United States who are descendants of slaves are not defendants, but descendants of slaves. That any of them, any black people that defend slavery, I'm not interested. The ADOS folks, anyway, that those folks are not black. They're East Indian and Cherokee and worship Satan and are aligned with Jews. And so it's like there's no. It's one of those really fun. It's like when you go, I've heard all the Hollow Earth story, but tell me about, I've heard all the Flat Earth story. Tell me about the Hollow Earth. That's interesting. You know what I mean? There's where the Nazis apparently after the war found a hole in Antarctica and they live inside the Earth. And that show La Brea is like a cheery lost version of that. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. Hi. It's just so much. Anyways. We've dove into this, and all these people were tweeting like, "Oh, blacks for Trump, blacks for Trump. How could the blacks for? How could they? How could they?" Like they're there to sell their website, dum. It's like a bunch of LaRouchians. Like it's like if they were standing back there with shirts that said Scientologists for Trump, nobody would think, "Oh my God, how can Scientologists side with Trump?" They would just go, "These assholes will parade their websites and stuff everywhere." So anyways, they're just selling, right? So, and I'm amazed, and they're always the same dudes too. They drive to all of them. And then there's like, look at these big crowds I'm drawing. And then like everybody they interview, they're like, this is my 50th rally. And you're like, yeah, you're really expanding that voter base, dude. I mean, it's just, well, the white people aren't triggered by the 7 black people. It's the Evo, it's liberals and people like Fugelsang and other people. I guess they just don't check the backstory of who those folks are. And they're like, how could self-respecting black people support this, whatever. Okay, never mind the sort of softball racism of the idea that I am not on board with, that all black people should necessarily like the same candidates I like or something like that. That's all aside. That's just, but of course, people have agency, individual thought, and their own right to personal philosophy, and voting blocks and stuff should not be assumed based on skin color. Yes, that's true. But that has nothing to do with this. Like, don't even get like wrapped up in that horse shit. Just understand that these people are lunatics. They're not there because they've decided that in spite of it's just oh, I've got Witcher hair. Is that what I've got? Is that what everybody's agreed on? All right. Well, I'm working on my Witcher muscles, so that'll work out. I guess. Except I'm not juicing. Oh, did he? He did. Did he call it out? He did. Did he say? Did he intimate? Yes, he did. Nah, it's all natty. It's totally natty, bro. He's totally natty. Because everybody has a teeny tiny waist like that and gigantic tits as a dude, and it's completely natural. No, I'm just trying to start like mini controversies so I could just get more to the show. Not even moves. I'm not talking about moves. I'm talking about like man tits, like muscle. Anyways, here we go. Thanks, somewhere time. Like I feel like some people who might not know that I have the top back in a ponytail might think that I've gone Chance Boudreaux on him, which is of course one my third favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme character from one of his movies. And probably the best way to hide his Belgian accent, his French Belgian accent, that making him, Louisiana Creole by birth or whatever, is the next thing. Next best one was him being a firefighter from Montreal who moved to Chicago. That works great. That was sudden death. Way to go. When I tell you not to move, you don't move. Right? That's great. It's good. It's all covered. I'm with you. So let's see. Mike, they only gave Mike 5 minutes, I guess. Or they only sliced him off a piece of his 5 minutes. But he's just happy to be there. They just told him, Mike, Trump's late. Go up there and talk shit. Let's see.
A year ago today, almost... I
just have to go over and steal his other microphone.
At this time,
Really? Really? They're just going to sell hey, no. You know what? Fuck you, dude. I can fix that. I'm going to let you co-opt my shit, you lunatic. Hold on, now I got to stretch it bigger. And I'll quit it. And then slide it over here. There we go. That's better. They'll cut back to him, but I don't know. Look at this. Supporters being Lindell is shopping. This is like, I mean, this is all a big pillow ad. All of it. This is all him doing his like roadshow version of QVC. That's what's happening.
That famous picture when I was outside the White House. Y'all remember that?
Yes, when you were ejected by by Trump's lawyers who were like, all right, we've officially pegged the needle on lunatics. Get him the fuck out of here. And his weird little notes that he brought in from other weirdos.
Well, ever since that day, I've been attacked from...
Yeah, see that? Look at the photographer. This is a Lindell event. Trump had cameras on him on the front, but he didn't have a paid photographer walking around behind him. You know, I mean, maybe there was the guy off the stage doing whatever. This dude is paid to be there to make Lindell, you know, like to make footage and promo pictures for Lindell.
Until night, right up to yesterday when they're trying to debank all the platforms. And,
yeah, they're not debanking all the platform. The banks in Minneapolis that he goes to or that he uses told him to go find someplace else to store his money. Piss off. They basically did to him what, like, you know, Visa does to OnlyFans accounts sometimes. And they're like, yeah, that's the way. Clear that filth out of that. I don't want to use Visa if an OnlyFans account running woman can pay her rent with nudity that harms no one. I don't want a Visa card, therefore. But now that they're kicking him out of his bank, they're like, this is Nazism. This is communism.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take this back a year ago and why we're so much better off
Laura.
today. A year ago, when
yes, and by the way, Mike, look behind you. They're not convinced. Yes, you're better. We are better off today. You're not so much.
Happened. After that happened and the media started attacking me, I put something on Facebook. I thought Suckabuck was just deplatforming me, but none of my friends would like anything. I call them, they wouldn't answer the phone.
Yes, Mark Zuckerberg cut Mike Pillow off on Facebook and has such reach, such power. We've got to stop Facebook. Its power is out of control. It was able to not only stop him from getting likes on his posts, but keep his friends from calling him.
He was in fear. Remember, across the country, it was after January 6th, everybody was...
No. We were in fear that they might try something worse on the 20th. But yeah, no, after Biden was sworn in, we're like, okay, that's enough of this. These nutcases are going to be running around, but yeah, we're not living in fear. None of us. I'm fine. How are you?
Fear. And I just kept going. I kept losing box stores and stuff. And I'm going, but we have evidence. This was stolen. We got to save our country. We were attacked. And then I heard about this. I heard about Arizona. I kept hearing stuff going on down in Arizona.
And none of it was true. Hold on. Now they're full framing him. So I'll shrink him back down. Good old Rumble. And they still running the ads. Fuck you, dude. Hold on. Quit it. I'm sliding this thing down to here. I don't care. I don't care if they see that. Like, I'll zoom in even more, dummy. I'm not like, you know how much I fight to just not have this guy advertising while I'm talking about him?
Brave people, these senators in this audit, and I'm going, and I'll tell you what, that inspired me. So here.
Oh, thanks, Arizona Republicans.
Arizona, the block after block after block, starting with rotten Doug Ducey, and who obstruction, which didn't make any sense. So, but they.
Well, no, Mike, it does make sense. If as Republicans, because he's confused by the idea that Republicans stopped them from looking into the election when they thought there was obvious fraud, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but I think I can help you make sense of it. And think of it as you will, that Republicans tried to help their president by adding fraudulent votes and messing with the voting system and doing everything they could. And yet in the end, their fake votes were swamped by real votes. And even though it made it closer, it still was not enough to overtake it. And then that knowing this, they were like, well, all right, well, he lost by, but we can pretend he lost by very little, and we can use that narrative to keep ourselves in power for a little while. But just everybody, okay, just call it a draw. And then Trump started dancing around this place and going, you guys need to look. And just for the record, just to save my ass from this. And the reason the Republicans were trying to obstruct is because what they knew you would find if you actually looked was more Biden votes, fewer Trump votes. And if they ever did find any idea like mass voter fraud of any sort, it seems like logically the only reason that they would do this and block like that is because they were engaged in the voter fraud. They know it did happen, but it was all to benefit Trump. And they're afraid that if you keep looking, you'll just find more Biden votes that were thrown out illegally and more Trump votes that were added illegally. And so logically, this is why, hardcore Republicans who have been doing nothing but chasing Trump's taint, hoping for a glimpse for years, all of a sudden don't want to back him up on this. That would be the only logical reason for this. That would be that's my thought on this. As far as comedy goes, that's all I got. It's just in case it helps you with the confusion. I don't think that's what happened. I'm just saying that if anything happened, that's what happened. Sorry. All right. No, sorry. What were you saying again, dum-dum?
Down here fighting and would not give up. And then you started hearing about it all across the country in different places. Yes,
I was mocking it. The general news was mocking it. Everybody but QAnon was mocking it.
Up in Michigan and down in Georgia, and that inspired me. Obviously, I went at it with no fear, because all I fear is the Lord. But I'll tell you.
Well, you kind of should, Mike, because you've been taking his name in vain for months now, committing the sin of bearing false witness against people. Multiple times on multiple platforms, anywhere somebody puts a mic in front of you, you are bearing false witness and using Jesus as cover. That's what it means to take the Lord's name in vain. What it means to take the Lord's name in vain in any situation, any religion, is to claim piety while sinning. Those two things together. It's not just yelling Jesus Christ because you stubbed your toe. That's not taking the Lord's name in vain. That's calling for help.
The fear started to go away with
well, yeah, along with the attention or the care.
And where we're at today, when I say every single day is a better day, we're in the best position we've been in since last year on November 3rd. And the reason I say that,
this asshole almost said January 6th.
Is because everybody now is out there with no fear, and we all know what happened.
Yes. No, I have no fear that anything you do will change a fucking thing. Except if you keep looking, you will find more Biden votes and they're going to have to throw out more fake Trump votes. Because that's just what's happened every state. I notice he's not at the villages right now going, we found some voter fraud. and we found some voter fraud, and they all voted for Trump, but
and it's all going to get corrected, and it's all been on God's timing, not ours.
Yes, billions of years. I know the Bible says 6 days, but what he means is approximately 4.6 billion years. It's 6 God days. So just wait one more God day and Trump will be president again.
Timing. And I will promise you this, there's not going to be any election done with...
Son of a bitch. Hold on. Don't do that to me again, you jerk. There's not going to be... Hold on. There's not going to be any elections done with what?
Going to be any election done with any machines or computers done in 2022.
What? Yeah, there is. What the fuck do you think we're going to do? Like, we're going to walk around with purple fingers like it's goddamn Iraq? What? And here's the thing. What is this asshole... that's just nonsense. It's just silly nonsense. But secondly, what is he telling these people? If you show up to vote and there's voting machines, don't do it. Don't vote. Because it's like, the hell?
And we've got great, right, and then I'm saying just yesterday, why are they all of a sudden attacking again, all the news back there? Why are they all attacking now, a year later? It's risen to a new level. You know why? Because all these great things are coming out, not just...
Yeah, no, there's been no doubling down, dipshit. Like, they're not there, like, nobody cares. Like, every time, they actually file something, there's a little blurb on the news. You're like, hey, these assholes are back, but it's not going anywhere. Like, no one is going, oh, dear. What if they actually find something this time? And by the way, maggots, trolls, anybody who's watching that's pro-Trump, if they ever did what you wish they would do and they're not going to be able to, like, decertify the election and start from scratch, Nancy Pelosi becomes president. She gets to pick her successor in the House. And she serves out until a new election could be scheduled, and it would be more than a year because because it's a presidency, you'd have to have a primary again, unless the parties just immediately agreed, and I doubt that's the case, and it'd be fucking hilarious. So you're talking at least 18 months of Nancy Pelosi as president with control of the House and the Senate. And that's what Mike Lindell thinks every day is more and more beautiful, because that's what we're getting closer to. It's so... Oh, God.
Arizona, they're still getting stuff from the Maricopa audit, but it's coming out everywhere. So they want...
It's coming out everywhere. Is it? Well, you might want to stuff it back in, dum-dum. What's coming out everywhere is that, there's some Biden votes in a drawer. Where'd these come from? Gary's he's the guy, put them in there and forgot they were there. Where's Gary? He's over there. He's the guy in the MAGA hat with the Trump one shirt.
Deflect. It's called election deflection. And they want to try and silence our voice again.
It is? It's called election deflection? Election deflection, got no erection. Is that the song that's being sung around Mar-a-Lago? Mar-a-Lago House Rock?
Just yesterday, did you all hear what they did to a great OAN?
Yeah. Apparently, not only is it run by assholes who got a leg up getting their network on DirecTV when they couldn't or shouldn't have been able to secure that very thing, meaning that they got pushed to the head of the line by somebody at DirecTV or AT&T, but they got kicked off. Now, here's something I want to share with you. Does anyone think that if OAN was as popular as they say it is, it would have gotten kicked off? Anybody? Anybody think that they would have just done it if it was like, dude, this fucking, I mean, it's beating CNN, it's beating Newsmax, it's beating Fox. I mean, you can't, I mean, we want to take it off. We really do. But the customer wants it. No. It was hanging like a rectal polyp on the end of the DirecTV, channel listings and boasting like we're on DirecTV while everybody else is, who might deserve it or might actually be able to garner that kind of audience. I don't know, a guy who gets over 1,000 people in his chat room every day now. Just saying my numbers are better than OAN's most of the time. And I'm just getting started. Like, I'm not even these groups that have been on friggin' YouTube and Twitch for 5 years. Yeah, OAN was there to lose money on purpose. It's a propaganda machine. It's not profitable. And there's no logical reason why they would take up space on the DirecTV broadcast, like their bandwidth. It makes no sense.
It's disgusting. DirecTV, owned by AT&T, told them that they're done.
Yeah, it's the first time I've considered going back to AT&T since I moved over to Verizon.
85% of OAN, of you watching, you're not going to be able to watch OAN when their contract is up.
By the way, this is being broadcast on RSBN, their direct competitor. And believe me, everybody at RSBN was like, whoa, now's our chance in the drunken horse race that is right-wing fake cable channels.
Did it for only one reason, to silence that. And this brings up the biggest...
Well, if they wanted to silence them, they'd have to, not only kick them off there, they'd have to shut them down. They'd have to buy their offices and evict them. They'd have to, I guess, pressure YouTube if you want to buy stuff in the AT&T store. If you want to put it on DirecTV, if you want YouTube channel on there, you'd have to get rid of OAN on there or we won't carry you. That would be silencing them because you would be hitting them everywhere else. If you don't want to carry somebody, that's not silent. That's not even censorship. That's fuck you. We have limited bandwidth and you don't earn the space and you're more trouble than you're worth. It's like Bongino bitching about being kicked off YouTube. I was kicked off for 3 friggin' months. He gets a 1-week suspension and boo fuckity who.
Problem we face is it's not the media, the fake news media. We're all...
He's pointing at me. I can feel it.
To them, it's the conservative media, the ones that don't talk. One of them rhymes with Fox, okay? Disgusting. They're disgusting. They won't talk about anything. When was the last time you seen anybody on Fox talk about the 2020 election?
I don't usually like to interrupt any of those moments. We just like to absorb and enjoy them. Those beautiful, beautiful moments. Also, this is a good way to remind everyone that, that whole thing about how Democrats in disarray, but Republicans know how to message and they know how to stay together. And they've got a clear path and a plan, and we're all over the place. And they're, okay, first of all, you've seen many times, I've shown you on here, Republicans say the same thing about themselves. The only difference is that we were actually able to pass a bipartisan infrastructure bill in the first 8 months of a new presidency. And remember all that shit about Ron DeSantis being the next successor to Donald Trump? This is going very well. The two front runners for 2024 allegedly in the Republican future wannabe primary and is DeSantis. DeSantis beat Trump at the CPAC straw poll or one of those things, like And ever since then, Trump's been grumbling about him. And now he's like calling him out about the booster thing. And he's trying to find a way to nudge him a little bit. Not because he's going to run against DeSantis and he's trying to knock him off. And DeSantis has, a grip on running for president next time. Because he fucking well doesn't. He's a terrible candidate. It's not going to work out that way. Florida's demographics are going to be a fucking mess in the next 3 years for lots of reasons. He's going to have bigger fish to fry. It's not, but we'll talk about that at some point. But the fact that this is the conversation right now, Roger Stone calls DeSantis fat, slow, and dumb on Trump's behalf. Yeah, and says Roger Stone, right? Yeah, but we're their problem. We're the ones they have to worry about. Hold on, squeeze this up.
Not going to see it. They're just disgusting. So the hope is right now,
By the way, Fox rhymes with Cox. That's when you go, it rhymes with Cox, and that's disgusting. And then you go, no, I mean Cox Cable. They won't carry OAN either. And then boo, and then you get a dirty joke in, but you get to hide it. You get to couch it in. You're the ones with the dirty minds, not me. Fucking people are stupid.
that goes by, more and more things happen. We got enough evidence. We got all that stuff. That's all done. We've got a great plan.
Yeah, it's all done. It's any day now. Like, we're almost coming up on the 1 year mark in 3 days of the Biden presidency, but we're so much better. We're this close.
But in order to get the plan done, you got to go. The messages we have, you have Real American News, RSBN, OAN, FrankSpeech.com. But you also have all.
It's Real America's Voice. Isn't that because that's the channel that Bannon's show is on? Real America's Voice. I mean, first he tanks one of the names. He kisses the ass of the one that's airing him right now, the only people covering this fucking thing, and then boosts his own.
Every day, all of you need to see what's in the news. That's like if something new comes out down here with the audit, if something comes out, if you're up in Washington State, I don't care if you're Washington State, Florida, wherever you at, and you look every day and you.
Yes, guys, wherever you at.
Share it with all of your friends, email them, everything, because it's our voice. Our voice has gotten bigger and bigger every single day since last year, and you.
No, it has not. What voice there was, which was painfully small, by the way, even at the beginning of this, and I don't mean Republicans in general or something. I mean the cuckoo, crazy, go nuts. We can turn the government, the election over. JFK Jr. is going to be here any day. Hang out in Dallas. He's going to be on the stage with the Rolling Stones, and he's going to be Trump's running mate. And Trump's, running everything from the real White House while Biden's in an Amazon Prime account. Like that voice, that teeny little fucked up, very loud but very weird voice, is now just split. Instead of being on Twitter and Facebook, is split on 9 different sites, and they're saying the same shit in 5 different places. All these people have a Getter, a Parler, a Rumble, or whatever, like all these accounts, and it doesn't fucking matter. It's a waste of friggin' time.
Stop that.
Oh, the cues are still there.
We will get our country back, and God bless you all, and God bless America.
Hey, Mike, you're an asshole, but Trump thumb to you too, buddy. But thanks for saying God bless America on your way out. Trump forgets to do that, never does it. I don't know why. Apparently, maggots, that's a wash with you guys. The fact that he skips that. And he'll say our country a lot, but he won't say America, like he's really talking about some future confederacy from southern states, like our country, which is this half, these 8 states. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Now, we'll do this. Okay. Post Theater mode. Thank you. There we go. Post speech, Trump decided to sit down with Newsmax. Let me shrink this down a little bit, fit it in there. Thank you. Sit down with Newsmax and, tell him, maybe some of the stuff that he forgot about. I'm assuming that's an exclusive. Donald Trump speaks with Newsmax's John Bachman. And at Saturday's Save America rally in Arizona, former President Trump spoke exclusively with Newsmax's John Bachman, who were behind the scenes filming things, but didn't actually film the actual thing. I don't even know if they ran it. We didn't see it on there. But in this particular zone, I guess he's coming. We'll see. I don't know if he's going on stage or off stage. He was late going on. Maybe this is right before. We'll see what these. Does anybody want to set a slurred speech meter? Let's see.
Stage with President Trump. Great to see you again, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sounds like the Republicans are going to take back control of the Congress. And what would you like to see them do?
Yeah, it does not sound like that. Not even close. No, it doesn't. I know that's like you're hearing that some sort of narrative, but that's not even remotely true. And especially with this asshole killing off his own voters and telling people not to vote, it's all rigged anyways. Till we deal with 2020, how are we ever gonna?
First, what should be priority number one if they do take back control?
Number one, take back. That's what has to be number one. We have to take it back. These are radicalized, horrible people that hate our country. What they're doing with the open borders and the judges and all of the things they've been doing is so sad. And then you look at Afghanistan.
Do you think he went without the tie because he got his neck gina was just like so overwhelming? His nunt. Sorry. It was like so bad that he's like, yeah, we got to pop it open. I'm going straight up. What you doing in your back? Yeah. You need a bigger collar. That's a great idea too. Somebody talked to his stylist. Who came up with the idea to have a collar that doesn't lay out, but it just goes up to his fucking ears? Is it one of Rudy's shirts? What happened?
As a topper, the way they came out, we were coming out strong with dignity. There's never been a lower point than what happened with Afghanistan, in my opinion. So we've got to, number one, we've got to win the House, and I think we can win the Senate also. We should win the House, maybe handily, and I think we should win the Senate.
Yeah, well, I know you think you should. You're not going to. Dude, you're talking most of your voters out of voting. Even the ones that you're like, you got to get out there and vote. You can't say it without 3 minutes later going, I don't trust any of these friggin' elections where they're rigged and bullshit. Why would people, especially when we're not going to be in a pandemic during this next one, people are going to be voting in person, so they're going to have to stand in line. Why the fuck would you stand in line if you think it's rigged? Why would you even leave the house? And yet this asshole's like, gone, yeah. Until we fix 2020, we can't do 2022. Good Lord.
Some lock him up chants for Dr. Fauci out there. What about holding Dr. Fauci accountable?
Well, he is accountable. He's somebody that has done some pretty poor work. With me, he wanted to...
What? No, holding him accountable. Oh, if he's accountable. Okay, he's held accountable. He's accountable. Then he holds himself accountable. What? Hold on. Hi, say that shit again. Oh, am I on the right? There you go. Thank you. Listen to that question.
Accountable. He's somebody...
Wait, one second.
Fauci out there. What about holding Dr. Fauci accountable?
Well, he is accountable. He's somebody that has done some pretty poor work. With me, he wanted to keep it open to China, keep it open to Europe. We would have lost hundreds of thousands more people. But he wasn't a big factor in my administration. But Biden has made him a big factor, and they have done a horrible job on COVID, or the China virus, as I call it. But they've done a horrible job.
What would you be doing differently right now when it comes to COVID?
Yeah.
Well, one thing, no mandates. The mandates are killing our economy. I'm convinced that when you...
Yes, the mandates are killing our economy. Which is stronger than people have seen in, 30 years as far as any kind of comeback in less than a year. And from when the Biden administration launched the rescue package, which would be the main kind of like the lead point, what you want to look at in a recovery from anything that happened in the administration before, you want to tack it to the time from when the next administration instituted a major plan for economic investment or did a tax cut or whatever. But, then you're basically riding the economy of the other administration up to that point, and then you can start tracking whether it's helping or whether it isn't. And that infusion actually helped us immensely. Yeah.
Supply chain problems. You can't get paper.
Thanks, Debbie.
You can't get lumber. They can't build houses. They have no.
One moment. Well, I can't. Oh, you bastards. Let's see. Well, here you go. Let me show you a couple of things that come up when you bring up house building in the U.S. Here it is. Now, Des Moines is in Iowa, where most people launch their presidential campaigns, and a lot of focus is put on Iowa during that time. So if you're looking to what headwinds you're going into or what wind might be at your back the next time around, you kind of look to how Iowa will be doing over the next 3 years. These 6 cities set records for building permits in 2021 as $3.3 billion invested in Des Moines Metro. U.S. Bank building in downtown Elizabeth is said to be renovated in the food hall. Okay, there you go. What to expect from the housing market. Another seller's market. Oh, that's rough. China's economy is slowing, a worrying sign for the world. Is it really? So, yeah, apparently you can. Stop fetishizing old homes. These are the other ones that come up. Yeah, by the way, yes, you can. There's a shit ton of houses being built, but the world's over. Like, Des Moines building more houses and getting more building permits, and people are building faster, hand over fist. It's a seller's market. Home prices are high because people want to buy these houses. It's because of demand. And then, let's see, lumber has stabilized. But let's check in. Let's see. Lumber outlook. This is from Market Insider. Let's see what lumber prices are at a 7-month high since they collapsed in July. Rallying again. They're rallying again. Okay. Scaling toward their highest level in 7 months. He said lumber's price hovers towards 1,000 per 1,000 board feet. Second sign. Okay. What are the 3 points? One. Is it because is lumber so high because no one can do anything? Nobody's got any money to spend. The whole thing is broken down. The world is falling apart. Millennials are reaching the home buying age. Aging millennial population is steadily graduated from student debt to mortgage debt, is putting pressure on the housing demand. So they've paid off their student debt, and now they are taking on mortgage debt because of the timing of that. That's how it usually works. Generations now in their 30s looking to buy some. While sky-high inflation, massive home price appreciation is hurting their buying power, they are still making inroads into the country's housing market. Even as high as shit is, millennials are buying houses at a clip that is keeping the prices high. Just millennials. Avocado toast. I don't even want to have a husband or wife. I want a partner and maybe 3, and we'll all live in a house together. And we'll telecommute and yada yada, right? A rise in Canadian lumber tariffs. Oh, look at that. In November 2021, the U.S. Commerce Department confirmed it will impose an 18% tariff on imports of Canadian softwood lumber producers in 2022. That is more than twice the 8.9% rate during the Trump administration. The Biden administration initially unveiled the plan in May, causing some lumber yards to stock up and increase their orders before the tariffs kicked in. This is a substantial increase. Canadian lumber has become very expensive again, which is going to drive up U.S. pricing. Some experts have claimed the move will make housing less affordable for Americans and hinder the economic recovery. Half the major producers of lumber in North America are located in BC, and the U.S. imports roughly 50% of their output. And the increased cost of raw goods. Further in the supply chain, the price of timber, wood, has been increasing from 10 to 20%. This usually causes supply-demand imbalance, but it isn't. That's the trick. It isn't. What you're seeing prices go up are not about the availability of homes or the building of homes, but time. I want it now. I'm willing to pay more to get the new house built because even the price of a new home build is up. It is up. It is still, in a lot of cases, lower than buying a house that's been there for a while, a heritage home, one that's been sitting for a few decades. Even if it's better, even if the construction's newer, even if it's more up to date on a bunch of different things, it's oftentimes cheaper than an older home of similar square footage. So people are like, yeah, it's more expensive, but it's cheaper than buying that house and it's brand new. So fuck it. Yeah, let's go in. Because by the time the old house's price is going to continue to rise more than likely, even if, it vacillates more or less over years. Sellers, buyers, markets come and go. But the new houses are going to tap up. UBI is ridiculous and stupid and is just a recipe for inflation, and it's silly. If you want to talk about means testing UBI in lieu of welfare or something, go have that argument in a corner. But it's absurd. It's silly. Anyways, here we go. This is it. You want to know how you can drive up rental prices in California, Illinois, New York, Florida, Washington State, and Oregon $1,000 a month? Instantaneously, hand out $1,000 a month. That's all that's going to happen. Like I said, if you like UBI, we've talked about this before. Fine, go pass a law that rent controls the whole country. Because if you don't, the price is just going to go up. That's it. If you can't stop people, like, oh shit, people got $1,000 more. Cool. We'll just add everything you own. We'll just everything you buy, everything you subscribe to will go up $10 or $20, and that $1,000 will disappear for the exact same services. And the only difference is you'll have a new bureaucracy that's handing out this money. Means test it. Give it to people who are broke. Because all you're going to do with people who make over $65,000 a year or $100,000 a year, because your UBI is everybody's universal, is that those people are going to stack that money, invest it, turn it into $10,000 per 1,000, and poor people are going to spend it because the cost of everything they do is going to go up commensurate. It's silly. Yeah, if you want to do that, fine, but get to work on the other shit. That's another conversation. We've had that before. It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
Ales have nothing, and I think to start off with, the mandates are a disaster, and people just aren't working. You can't get people to work because of the mandate.
Dude, we have 10 million more jobs than we have people, and part of it is the overwhelming turning away of immigrants over the last couple of years. During the Trump administration, literally all these Texas and Arizona companies that and Mar-a-Lago, where they do all this under-the-table hiring of people who are here illegally. They pay them under the table, drive down wages. They can control these people. They scare the living shit out of them. They can pay them a pittance because all they have to do is turn them in, because they're all operating on fake papers, which they know are fake, but they can go, I didn't know this guy was fake. Go get him, and just turn you into CBP or and have you deported, so they have total control over you. So once that stuff started, once you stop the flow of people coming across that are being taken advantage of that way, then you got to actually hire people above the table, so that and when you do that, you have to file Social Security stuff. You have to do a W-9. You got to pay them for real. And those are all the jobs that are missing. Anyways, and mandates. It's a testing mandate. This is so stupid.
So that would be the first thing I'd do, because I think it would help straighten the economy. The other thing you have to do, unrelated to that, but you have to do, is we were energy independent, and now we're reliant on OPEC and Russia.
No, we're not. By the way, do you guys remember? Hold on. Trump talks to Russia, OPEC. It was Saudi Arabia. Hold on, let me open this page up. There you go. Guys, anybody remember when this shit was happening? Hold on. U.S.-Russia agree to oil market talks as Trump calls price war crazy. U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin agreed during a phone call on Monday to have their top energy officials discuss slumping oil markets as Trump called Russia's price war with Saudi Arabia crazy. That was from the picture of him giving that palm up handshake he always loved to do. The agreement marks a new twist in global oil diplomacy since a failed deal earlier this month between the OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, and Russia to cut production ignited the price war between Russia and OPEC's de facto leader, Saudi Arabia. The fallout from the coronavirus pandemic also helped to send oil prices into a historic tailspin, threatening higher cost drillers in the United States and around the globe with bankruptcy. Opinions on the current state of global oil markets were exchanged. It was agreed there would be a Russo-American consultation through this ministry. So it basically was saying, can you guys cut production because you're this game of chicken that Russia and Saudi Arabia were having was driving oil prices down even worse than they were. And it was basically, they were just, the idea was that they drove it below zero. That's what actually happened. It went down to negative $36 a barrel. At which time, by the way, before these talks, Trump could have just told the Energy Department, buy all the oil you can, fill the national reserves, make them pay us to take that oil, and we'll sit on it. Did he? No. He went and had these talks. The price went up, and he waited until the price went up to buy it at like $27 a barrel. Was it a deal on what was before? Yeah. Was it $50 more expensive than he could have bought it? Uh-huh. So there you go. This was him begging OPEC and Russia to turn off the spigot, creating this imbalance. And we remember he also talked to he talked Mexico and us into decreasing our output. Where is it? Trump. Oil, Mexico will reduce output. So, there you go. Let's see. This is how fucked up Trump's oil policy was while he was in office. Remember this stuff? Does anybody remember this? Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not fair to make you remember this. You remember this? That the Energy Department, Trump's administration talked to Mexico and talked them into cutting production. And we were going to help them financially to do it so that the oil companies wouldn't get capsized in this process. Yeah? Oil producers group OPEC and allies Thursday announced the record supply cut, but the plans were cast in doubt after Mexico balked at the cuts. Mexico later said they would move forward thanks to a deal with the U.S. to help shoulder the reductions. He had proposed to, quote, help Mexico along. He said the U.S. would reduce its output and Mexico would reimburse the U.S. at some later date. He added he wasn't sure the deal would be accepted. We're working on it. I think it's going to work out eventually. Very good. It's going to work out. So work out. Oil markets were closed on Friday, but the prospect of cuts had failed to boost prices a day earlier, with many analysts saying they would do little to offset the massive drop in demand. Hey, look at that. Remember reality? affecting a market and changing how much oil we were using and gasoline we were expending. Remember reality? Anybody remember reality? I remember that. We used to incorporate that into our perception about news. Reduce the surplus. Remember that? Look at that. In prepared remarks, U.S. Secretary Dan Brouillette called the situation dire and made worse by the price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia after Russia would not join a plan to cut supply last month. Said America would take surplus off the market by storing as much oil as possible and predicted a fall in U.S. output, pointing to the struggles low prices were creating for U.S. companies, but he did not promise specific reductions. Call on nations, blah, blah, blah. And then, however, on Friday, Mexican President Andre Manuel Lopez Obrador said Mr. Trump had spoken to him on Thursday and suggested the U.S. would help its neighbor with the cuts. They said the U.S. would make 250,000 barrels per day in additional cuts to its output, allowing Mexico to just cut 100,000. Does anybody remember laughter? We've got to go beg OPEC to increase the supply after I begged everyone to cut the supply the year before. And they did. And now boats don't have enough fuel. Uh-oh. Can you say overcorrection, anyone?
Yeah, and we're reliant on all of the people that it's like it was 5 years ago. We had energy independence, and if you remember, $1.87 a gallon to fill up your car. $1.80.
Yeah, and when no one was going anywhere. When oil was negative $35 a barrel.
Now it's up to $6, $7 in California.
Son of a bitch. I thought we were going to get through this. Jesus Christ. Every fucking time. But some people are new. We've had a lot of new people in here. Maybe you guys haven't seen this. Trump keeps referencing this $7 a gallon in California. It's actually higher than that, $7.50. But this is what he's referencing. Now, there's a little surprise in here, and many of the people who are regulars know this. So tap your brakes so you don't ruin the supply for the surprise for them. Oh boy. Factor friction. California gas station charges $7 per gallon. What? The what? Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. It's true. Sadly, it's true. The only gas station in the remote central coastal community of Gorda is selling regular unleaded for $7.59 a gallon. It's almost $8.50 for premium. The town is known for having some of the highest prices in the country. Now, does anybody remember who was president in 2018? Anybody remember who was president in 2018? Or 2019. Let's just go to 2019. My mistake. In July 2019, in Salinas, California, it says the Americo gas station in that town was charging $11.75 for a single gallon of gas. So let me run this by. Yeah, right now it's $7.50. When Trump was president, before COVID, it was $11.75. It was almost $12 a gallon. That's not even premium. You fucking stooge. We've seen this so many times. Trump was president in 2019. That's the one thing even the maggots and trolls can agree to. Maggots, you guys know this, that he was your president in 2019. Remember those sweet days? And while he was president, that gas station that's charging $7.50 a gallon, it's just terrible. It's as high as $7, was $11.75 while Trump was president. It was very powerful gas. It was beautiful. It was very beautiful gas. Oh, also, remember how remember how let's see. Remember how Trump said when he was running against Biden that liquid natural gas is done.
They don't like the gas.
Remember that? Remember that?
You're gonna
and
frack.
He's like, if he becomes president again,
You're gonna frack.
Right? Remember that? But Biden's not gonna let you do that.
They don't like the gas.
That's right. They don't like the gas. Remember when he said that? Remember that shit? What's the date on this? What's the date on those? What happened there? U.S. becomes world's top exporter of liquefied natural gas, LNG. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Congratulations. I know all you America First crowd will at least begrudgingly give credit where credit is due and celebrate the fact that America is number one in this, right? You guys are going to be excited. I mean, it's a mitigatory fuel, better than coal, fewer, less carbon in the atmosphere. It's a transitional thing. It's not something you'll do forever, but in the interim step, short of letting people freeze to death, which is not a step I find acceptable, this is a this is a plus, right? Right? All the trolls in here who hate my guts and call me a liar and da 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 da. I mean, it's adorable. And by the way, thanks for being here. We unlike other shows, we appreciate the trolls being here. And the more you type, the more powerful we become. I'm the Obi-Wan Kenobi of, and maybe that's the hairdo I'm going for right now. It's no use, Luke, if you'd have been here. If you'd have been there, you'd have been killed too. And the droids would now be in the hands of the Empire. Only a master of evil doth. It's the Obi-Wan haircut in the prequels. And it's spelled M-A-G-A, lower, all caps, lowercase t. Lowercase s, maggots. Yes. Qui-Gon. Yeah, I've got Qui-Gon hair. There you go. But, hey, I know you guys think America's going to hell and it's shitty and America sucks and America last and America bad and America garbage and America and Biden's America terrible and Americans. And when we change presidents, we suddenly our souls switch on and off like a fucking switch, and we're incapable of being great without dear leader, follow the bring me into the sunshine, dear leader. But you gotta. Yeah, democracy bad, right? In this particular case, you can sell. Can you? Are you capable of celebrating this? Are you? Are you even capable of being happy about this? Yeah, it's a magats now because it's Make America Great Again, again, and again, and again, and again. All right, just saying. Ouch. Oh. Gotta suck.
Over $7.
When people look at this Nord Stream 2 deal, you were holding Russia accountable for that. And no one.
And by the way, if he stopped it, why were they still building it? We can't stop it. We cannot stop the Nord Stream pipeline. We can't order Russia to stop building. We can't order Germany to not have it. Like, nobody stopped it. He put pauses on. He tried to, And it's hard to even say what he actually accomplished. He didn't even delay production, or rather construction on it. But again, I've said many times, one of the ways that you defeat Russia is you narrow the areas where they can make money into areas you have more control over. So if they use trucks and boats to ship their energy to Europe, to stop it, you got to block those ships and boats, which is dangerous and warlike and entails killing people if you want to stop it. Whereas a pipeline, it's a nice pipeline you got there. It'd be hard for it to, it look pretty, if something happened to your pipeline, it'd be kind of sad. Meanwhile, Biden, let's see. Now, I'm sure that folks know about this too. That if something were to happen to the Nord Stream, well, if they've gotten European or American insurance companies to insure it, that ends up costing us. We end up paying the price of what would be a physical sanction by, shutting it off, blowing it up, any of those kind of things. If Ukraine struck the pipeline using stuff we gave them, we would end up paying to rebuild it, right? Oh, no. Oh, yeah. You think there might be a strategy? You think there might be some actual thought going into this instead of this, rubber mallet and crayons foreign policy that Trump was doing? You bet you could. I like him. He's a good person, even though he suffocates his own people. He's a bad person. That kind of shit. Do you think they even know? Do you think they care? Do you think the America First crowd is paying attention to any of this shit, or are they just taking his word for it? Hi, Amy. No? You don't think so? He's fantastic, Amy. Thank you for asking.
Understand why the Biden administration or Democrats would not go forth with these sanctions in Ted Cruz's bill last week.
Well, somebody got a lot of money. If you look at the money part of it, somebody got money, but we had it stopped. And it's also very bad for Europe.
Yeah, by the way, apparently we let it go through because somebody's getting a payoff from Russia. Germany? Who? The U.S.? Who's been dealing with the Ukraine-Russian energy trade besides Rudy Giuliani and Trump's own family?
They supply the energy to Europe. If they ever get into a little fisticuffs, it's going to be pretty bad where they say, guess what, we're turning off your energy. So
right. But also that's how they make money. It's a balancing act. It's diplomacy with strength, and in that strength, it's way easier because when you blow up a pipeline, you don't have to kill soldiers and sailors. So it's easier to make that happen. Also, does anybody know what... Guys, I don't know if you even knows this. Does anybody know what's in that pipeline? Does anybody know what's in the Nord Stream pipeline? What do they put through that? What is actually traveling through it? Is it oil? Is it liquefied coal? Is it perhaps a substance that the United States has a lot of, and if Europe's ever hurting for it because they can't get it from Russia, they'll pay a premium to get it from someplace else? No? Anybody know what's in the Nord Stream? And if it stops, where they get their needs met? Nobody? Anybody? Can anybody just go play fucking Risk for an afternoon?
closing up plants, and they're reliant on Nord Stream. And I was the one that brought it up. You would have never heard the term. I brought it up. I ended it. And now Biden approves it, and they're going to be completing it fairly soon. It's a disgrace.
We got a charged up crowd out there, and they're very excited to see you, very excited to see Kari Lake. This is going to be
this is before. That makes sense. I think he spent it all in the gym.
Important state in 2022. What do you think is the most important election issue for the voters of 2022 in Arizona?
I think the borders for Arizona certainly are. And that, the whole country is a border if you think about it. They're pouring.
Yeah. The whole country is a border. Yeah. Yeah, if you think about it. It's like the whole, I'm sorry. Does anyone else smell almonds and burnt toast? The whole country's a border if you think about it.
throughout the country. But for Arizona and Texas in particular, the borders are a terrible.
Yeah, the whole country's a border if you really think about it. But the places that actually are on the border, you know, it's even more so. Jesus Christ. I am, Amy. Thank you.
Terrible problem. We have millions of people coming into our country, and you know, many are coming from prisons of other countries. Over 120.
Oh God, this fucking story. They're dumping people in. Okay. How many times do we have to cover? Okay. You're the worst kind of criminal. You're a former cartel assassin who's got a penchant for sexual assault and murder. You're the awful dude they turn loose when things, when they want wet works, but they don't care about anybody wherever they send you. And the Guatemalan or the Honduras government catches you, puts you in jail. And eventually, this way he thinks the plan is. They go to the jail and they go, hey, we're going to let you out, but you have to promise not to do anything awful like you love to do until you get to America. Okay, I promise. No. I mean, not here, not in Mexico, because you'll get caught. And what we want is for you to get into America and do all that stuff. But what if I don't get in? Well, try again. Why can't I just join a cartel on my way there and they'll hire me to do the murder and I like it when there's lots of kids. Don't touch the kids till you get there. Please? No. Walk all the way to America. Don't commit any crimes. Don't get yourself thrown back in jail. It's counterproductive because they'll find out you're from Honduras and they'll send you back to us. Just promised? All right. 2 weeks later, what the fuck are you doing here? I couldn't wait. Son of a bitch.
9 countries, they said last week. They're people from 129 countries. It's not just like Mexico and Honduras and, et cetera. They had 129 countries. And
yes, including the northern border, like Swedes living in Canada coming over because there's a lot of jobs. Like, what are you talking about? In the entire, all ports, all everything. It's not the southern border, you nutcase.
Emptying out their prisons. The United States is a dumping ground for a lot of people that are.
How do they get them here exactly? Do they coyote them from one? Do they all get in the same van? Is it like a Con Air kind of a situation? Put the bunny back in the box. Are we gonna find Steve Buscemi wandering near the border? They're dumping them all. They're all 129 countries dumping all their prisoners into the United States. Why? Because Biden said the borders were open. Well, he didn't actually say that, nor did the our immigration and secretary. Nobody actually said it, except Trump and Republicans. They've been saying it nonstop. They've all been saying the border's wide open. Find me the Democrat that is in a power to do anything that said the border's wide open. We want people to come on in. People are welcome. Let's get them in here. Come on. Oh, yeah. I don't care. No vetting. Just get them in. Open border. Let it go. So, no. Leave these people alone. Like, not a single fucking Democrat is for that or saying that. Meanwhile, Ted Cruz, though, that dude's on Texas TV channels that broadcast across the border fucking twice a week saying that shit.
Not the people that we want.
And when it comes to the leadership of the GOP right now, what kind of letter grade would you give?
Oh, this is good stuff. Okay, this is very good. This is going to be, what do you think? We have some great people and we have some terrible people, but Mitch McConnell's a disgrace. What do you think?
Leader McCarthy and McConnell.
Well, I've been working well with Kevin, and we've been doing very well together, and we're working on the election, and I'd give him a very high mark. I'm not a fan of McConnell. I haven't been.
By the way, the election, he means 2020. Strategy.
Helped him get elected. Without me, he would have lost his race. And then he goes and makes stupid statements after January 6th, which was not my situation. This was just a stupid thing he did. But he's a bad leader. He gave them 2 months. That 2-month stay, that 2 months of adjustment gave them a power that they should have never had. So I'm not a fan of him, and I think he's hurting the party very.
Yeah, what he's talking about is the debt ceiling, because in his opinion, they should have, they didn't vote for it. They just let it go forward, which they have to. It's just silly. But that debt ceiling raise is to pay for the interest on the debt accrued during his presidency. That's his debt. If there's a rise in the debt ceiling next year or the year after, that conversation will be about what, if any, debt has been taken on by the Biden administration. But the one this year, or last year technically, that came around was to pay for the fiscal year budget the year before, which is his.
Badly, McConnell.
All right, well, I got the wrap up here. What's the main message for this crowd tonight?
Well, it's a message of love. I mean, our country's going to hell. Our borders are open.
It's a message of love. I mean, our country's going to hell. And I love that our country's going to hell, but it's a message of love. We don't have love. What the fuck? Oh, God. Say that again.
McConnell.
All right, well, I got the wrap up here. What's the main message for this crowd tonight?
Well, it's a message of love. I mean, our country's going to hell. Our borders are open. You take a look at what's happening with our economy and inflation, and
sounds like
you
love.
Look at fuel prices. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, where it costs 4 times more to fill up your car today than it did a couple of months ago. I mean, 9 months ago. We had it down to a level that it was so good, great for the industry and also great for the consumer, people that want to fill up a tank. No, we're a country that's in serious trouble, but we'll turn it around. We're going to fight very hard. We're going to turn it around. I say, make America great again.
All right. Mr. President, always great to talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You got time for a quick selfie?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Awesome. Thanks.
What was that? Is that a neck pull-in strategy as an aging man I should be aware of? What? Yeah. Got time for a quick selfie?
Great again.
So professional.
All right. Mr. President, always great to talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You got time for a quick selfie?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, I did. That's what that was. It's like a jowl lifting exercise. Look at this douchebaggery. The one thing I like about Newsmax is their professionalism. You know what I mean? This is.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You got time for a quick selfie?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Awesome. Thanks. Great to see you.
And there you go. We had to end it with a selfie. That's what you do, I guess, in 2020.
No, it isn't what you do, asshole. You don't do that on camera. Why do you, he'd have given you one. What the fuck? What kind of fanboy bullshit is this? And by the way, way to go, truly objective news with that. Tell us the truth about the difficult truth. And I ask the hard questions, and I hope you can appreciate that. Can we get a selfie afterwards? Because you're fucking awesome. Meanwhile, the lamestream media is totally in the pocket of big tech and the Democratic Party. So there's hold on. Oh yeah. So one of the big stories. All right, we'll have to do. This one's weird because it's Mr. Producer. Go. Mark Levin is. This is called Biden's Bloody Hands. Jesus. Calm yourself. Biden's bloody hands. Now, I'm assuming this is to make, they have a tough time. Republicans have a very tough time because they want to paint Biden as a monster, but they kind of think monsters are cool. Like Trump famously posted a meme video of himself. He retweeted it as Thanos, for fuck's sake. Character-wise, the greatest genocidal maniac in the history of the universe. Just, killed trillions because he thought things were too crowded, right? Meanwhile, Biden's supposed to be feeble, can barely walk, can barely talk, and all that stuff, but also a monster. So that's the balance of it, because their own viewers are pro-monster. But this whole thing, I think, let's look at it. And he's still got his weird Trump cookie jar back here. And, he's never going to run out of copies of his book. Even though, boy, has that jumped the shark. Hold on. Here we go.
A video clip from Americans.
Mark. Look up.
Afghanistan Fund started by John Ondrasik of the band Five for Fighting, which is actually a pretty well-known band. And
By you? No.
And he's quite the patriot. And this is a video called Blood on My Hands. Now, it can be a little tough to watch from time to time, I'm told. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm glad you vetted stuff before you air it on your channel. You haven't seen it. You hear they're very good, but I'm just going to play it. I haven't looked at it. What the... And that it's, got violent imagery in it? What's happening?
But I want us to take the time to watch it, and then we'll jump in.
Oh, us?
With the usual reprobates and so forth. But we like to make this show a little different. When we find something that's interesting, we want to run it.
First of all, how the fuck do you know it's interesting? You didn't even watch the goddamn thing yet.
Find something positive, particularly about dogs. We want to run that too. So let's take...
What is happening? What? Mark, you've totally let go of the reins. What's going on with your show?
Look at this. It's about Afghanistan. Go.
Oh, no.
Your own intelligence community has assessed that the Afghan government will likely collapse.
That is not true.
It took the Taliban.
Hold on.
Disaster unfolding very quickly. This is really an American catastrophe.
Secretary of State Blinken declaring this is manifestly.
Yeah. By the way, for the record, I can't play this because the audio on it alone is going to be there's a song, right? Is this? Yeah, same. Dude, look at that dude in the suit. I didn't even see him before. The dude trapped in yeah, we've all seen this shit. Dude falling off the thing. Right. Yeah, they found that baby, by the way. Good news. They brought it inside, and this guy didn't know where to take it, so he took it home, and he's been raising it as his own. And the Taliban was going to take over. Yeah. What do you think it was going to be any different when Trump's deadline came? Didn't he set the date? We just moved it 3 months so we could get the people that helped us out. Look at Levin watching this thing. Never seen this. Why am I not in any of these clips? Don't doze off on us. Oh, yeah. And there was a suicide strike. Right. On the civilian side, an Afghan military helicopter. Oh, RT. A good trustworthy source. Tell us again, Russia. What kind of world do you want to... Okay, that's the site he's playing it off of. We got to get these people out of here. These are the people that... Oh, by the way, Trump was supposed to... In that clip, Trump was supposed to... Oh, God. I used to think that Trump knew what the fuck he was doing. I'm standing outside using footage from the news. I always talk about, oh, fuck, dude, you're gross. What are you doing? Make a music video with dead kids. Look at this nut. I like pictures of dead Afghanis, and I know Trump would too. All right, hold on. Call off the dogs. Asshole uses a capo. On the second fret, tune your guitar, asshole. You're doing a video. What do you think? You're doing a set? And like a bunch of dead Americans and a piece of audio of a Afghan dude who we wouldn't give the time of day. And this, And all right, and then he cuts away from this. That's the tail end. Some guy.
God knows what's going on there now. Horrendous.
There was a huge earthquake there. There you go. What's going on right there? Right, God knows what's happening there right now. Senior Taliban leader Zabihullah Mujahid says the group is looking to open classrooms for all girls by March 21st. Girls' schools across Afghanistan will hopefully reopen by late March. A senior Taliban leader has told the Associated Press, offering the first timeline for the resumption of high school for girls since the group retook power in mid-August. Speaking to journalists on Saturday, spokesman for the Afghan government and Deputy Minister of Culture and Information said the group's education department would open classroom for all girls and women in the Afghan New Year, which starts March 21st. Although the Taliban has not officially banned girls' education, the group's fighters have shuttered girls' secondary schools and barred women from public universities in some parts of the country. Again, Afghanistan is not a country. It's 12 tribal regions all stitched together. But this is a positive sign, I think. Girls in most Afghanistan have not been allowed back to school beyond 7th grade since the Taliban takeover, and reversing this has been one of the main demands of women's rights activists in the international community for months. Education for girls and women is a question of capacity, they said. We're trying to solve these problems by the coming year. The international community, reluctant to formally recognize the Taliban-run administration, is wary the group could impose harsh measures similar to its previous rule 20 years ago. At the time, women were banned from education and work in public life. We are not against education, they said, speaking on behalf of that ministry. In many provinces, the higher classes, girls' school, are open, but in some places where it's closed, the reasons are economic crisis and the framework, which we need to work on in areas which are overcrowded, and for what they need to establish with new procedure. Education for girls and crime. High school student Anzared, who gave only first name, expressed doubt. I don't think they'll be able to reopen girls' schools because they have said so many things but haven't followed up. If they really open the schools again, it'll be the best for girls. I can understand why she would be dubious about this, but they're not going to get international help without it. They are not. I'm sorry, why is the blood on Biden's hands, dum-dum? Let's see. What else is going on just in Afghanistan? Harsh winter fuels ongoing humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. This is also true of Uzbekistan, parts of Turkmenistan, to parts of Kazakhstan, which obviously we've talked about a bunch. God knows what's going on there right now. God and apparently UN people, like God and the United Nations, apparently, because they're the ones supplying stuff. Oh, and India knows. Sorry, all right, hold on 1 second. India, wheat, Afghanistan. See the because they have no monetary. Let's see. That's November. This will do. So they already did this, but India is sending wheat to Afghanistan for the to ease the hunger crisis there. Pakistan didn't want them to bring it through Pakistan. Taliban asked, which are originally from Pakistan, asked the Pakis to let them through, the Pakistani people or the government to let it through, and they are now. This was in November. And the Taliban is apparently paying people in food to do public works. Let's see. Taliban pays in food. I'm just going to probably find it in that way. Yeah, World Grain. Yeah, this is from worldgrain.com. Taliban to pay more workers in wheat. Fields of wheat. The Taliban administration is expanding its Food for Work program, which pays Afghanistan's public sector employees in wheat instead of cash. It's not just wheat. Wheat's a big part of it, but they get like foodstuffs and like a month's supply of food. So the program mostly is being used to pay laborers on public works programs, but now will be expanded around the country. Additional wheat donations have been received, including 18 tons for Pakistan, with a promise of 37 tons more, and negotiations are underway from India for 55 tons. It's not clear how much of the donated wheat will be used as direct humanitarian aid and how much will pay workers, but it's coming in there. So that's what's going on. Also, we're not there anymore. We are not in Afghanistan. We are not killing or being killed in Afghanistan. That's what's going on. After 20 years, we're out. And again, Trump ran on getting us out in 2015 and 2016, and in 2017, he's like, well, I don't know if it's the best idea. Maybe I was a little too quick to, well, maybe. That's what's going on there right now. And they just had an earthquake.
Things, horrific things. You see how they grab these young men off the street and they hang them by their necks till they're dead.
Well, do I? Which young men are we talking about? Also, how is this different before we got there? How is this different from a lot of other countries in the region? Were there no extrajudicial hangings of other Afghans while we were there in the last 20 years? Are you out of your fucking mind?
They do to the women there, you even saw some dead children because
yes, from bombings, fucko, from ISIS-K. From the pro-Uyghur ATIM group that is now giving China headaches. And also, we didn't stop those kind of things just by being there. They happened in other parts of the country.
Taliban really represents about, population-wise, 15% of the country, mostly. The far-off rural areas, mountain people, that sort of thing. And they've been trying to pose their will on the rest of the country for a long time, as you see. And
is this going anywhere? Yeah, mountain people. Just like Appalachia.
And they've succeeded. The vast majority of people in Afghanistan are not of the Taliban. They're not throwbacks to the 7th century. We now get reports that Iran is working with the...
No, they're throwbacks to the 5th century and the 10th century. The fuck is your point?
Taliban, in a very significant way. And we also have reports that Biden is giving the Taliban government, as they call it, the regime, over $300 million in aid.
Is that what we're getting? Are we getting reports of that? Let's see. Shall we jump in here? Let me try here. U.S. And 300 million aid Biden, something like that. Let's see. There you go. Oh, so they're gonna give them cash, are they, Mark? They're just gonna dump cash over there. Let's see. Additional American assistance. The latest contribution. Oh, I see. This is what you're talking about? This is what you're talking about, dum-dum? This is what Mark... U.S. announced more than $300 million in Afghan aid. Amid winter disasters. The Biden administration provided more than $308 million in additional humanitarian assistance to Afghans facing food and water shortages economic collapse, and other issues exacerbated by COVID-19. The latest contribution brings the total amount of assistance from Washington and Afghanistan and Afghan refugees in the region to nearly $782 million since October, according to the National Security Council spokesperson Emily Horn. In addition to the money, the U.S. will be providing $1 million. And now, wait a second. Remember when I tell you guys about the third paragraph? You know, and sometimes in papers where they cut it a little slightly like thinner, it's like the fifth or the seventh paragraph, because they'll take 3 big paragraphs that a normal person will read and cut them in half to just keep you rolling. Yeah, remember I tell you about that? Let's keep an eye on that, shall we? In addition to the money, which is what they say in the third paragraph, the money, just throwing money at it. We're giving it right to the Taliban, not to Afghanistan, like it says, to the Taliban. He's saying Taliban, all right. Is there a difference between aid to Afghanistan? We'll find out in a second. The U.S. will be providing 1 million additional coronavirus vaccine doses through the Global COVAX initiative, bringing the administration's total contribution to 4.3 million doses. We're sending 1 million doses over there. There's 22 million people in the country, something like that. The new humanitarian aid assistance by the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, will directly flow through independent humanitarian organizations and help provide life-saving protection, shelter, essential care, winterizing assistance, emergency food, water, sanitation, and hygiene services in response to the growing humanitarian needs exacerbated by COVID-19 and health care shortages, drought, malnutrition in the winter season. Through independent humanitarian organizations, NGOs, not the now, we might be splitting hairs. I don't consider the Taliban an independent humanitarian organization. Mark Levin probably does. Mark Levin probably thinks there's no difference between the Taliban and the Salvation Army. What's the fucking difference, right, Mark? The United States is committed to supporting the Afghan people, and we continue to consider all options available to us. We stand with the people of Afghanistan. Since the Taliban took control of Afghanistan in August, the U.S. and its Western allies, I thought it was just us. I thought it was just a bad idea by Biden, have attempted to aid the Afghan people by either flying those who wish to leave the country out or by directly providing aid groups with humanitarian funds. Where we go down here in this one? There it is. How do we go? Hold on. Slide this down. Can we blow this up a little bit? Come on now. Let's make it even bigger. Come on. Let's just say I have real shitty eyesight. Where do they go? How about this? This is for you, Mark. There you go. Since the Taliban took control of Afghanistan in August, the U.S. and its Western allies have attempted to aid the Afghan people by either flying those who wish to leave out of the country or by directly providing aid groups with humanitarian funds rather than the Islamist government. Rather than the Islamist government. Bringing us back to the most fucking tiresome, boring, and egotistical and goofy possible response by this prick that says that the United States government, on behalf of the U.S. taxpayers, based on who we elected last year, is dumping $300 million into the pocket of the Taliban. When we are doing precisely the opposite. Just the fucking laziness of this prick. Never mind the fact that he's shitting on everyone in our government. I mean, no wonder he played a music video with RT clips in it. Hey, Mark, on behalf of all of us decent, flag-respecting Americans, fuck you!
I mean, we've got the amateur team out there.
Do we? Because the amateur team actually got us out of Afghanistan. You do know that, right? 20 fucking years soldiers fighting in the last few years born at the beginning. You got parents who fought in the Afghanistan war and their kids served.
Ideologues. They don't put America first. They don't put our allies first. And this is done.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They do not put our allies first. We just join with them arm in arm, you tit. Again, I can't tell if he's lazy, a liar, or just fucking dumb.
Grave damage to the people of Afghanistan. This has done grave damage to people who are suffering all over the world under regimes like this. And it's...
How? You mean providing aid for them? Just it's probably better if they just die. I mean, aren't they better off? Thanks, Mark. Way to be pro-life.
Do grave damage to the United States of America. Why do you think Putin and Xi and the Islamo-Nazi regime in Tehran and Un in North Korea has launched now 2 missiles? Why do you think they're aggressive? They don't fear.
The same reason they were aggressive when Trump first took office, to test the waters. Also, have those missiles of Kim Jong-un's actually exploded on impact, or have they just fallen into the sea oddly? I don't want to give too much away. But let's see. You know, one of the reasons why these North Korean missiles never seem to impact anything. You know, like we test ours, we test them on an island or something like that, and we check how the impact crater was and all that stuff. Remember those old Cold War videos of impact craters of all kinds? Did you ever wonder why? And I'm not saying this is why. Did you ever wonder why the North Korean missiles never actually make it anywhere? Why they kind of go up an arc and just fall out of the sky? They don't blow up in the sky as a test, like a big firework or something to show off. Anybody think, Navy shipboard lasers for surface, air, and missile defense. Huh. I'm sure it's just a prototype. We never have pictures of stuff that's, anytime we see a picture, we know it's brand new. Especially when it's covert. Any new weapon that we're seeing, video or pictures of for the first time, there's no way those have already been deployed for 15 fucking years. Oh, I am getting very Andy Rooney there, Ucamino. Thank you for warning me. I'll back down. Thank you. Thanks very much.
They don't respect us. And they certainly don't fear or respect Joe Biden. And the more he talks to them directly, the more nervous I get, because it's apparent to them what's apparent to us. He's incapable of being president of the United States.
Hey, at least he can read and figure out fucking facts, asshole. You just played a music video on your show while you're sitting in your fake rump room with your own fucking book title plastered all over the place with a fucking Donald Trump cookie jar. No tie. What's wrong with you? I thought I was the hippie. And you don't even fucking understand the policy you're decrying at all. You're not even trying. None of these assholes are even trying. I would have some respect for them. They're moving these things in. They're doing this kind of stuff. And I don't think it's I think because that's going to da-da-da-da. They don't even do that. They're like, I heard something about $300 million. Probably the worst fucking thing ever.
And so the media pushed Biden into the Oval Office, pushed his administration into the Oval Office.
For the record, I am, I guess, media now, but I wasn't necessarily, qualify at the time. This show has sort of grown into a thing, but I was streaming on a laptop at the beginning of the primary. I mean, I was right about everything, but I wouldn't call myself that kind of media anyways. I definitely have been in media and will be again. By the way, tomorrow night I'll be at the Whiskey on the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles, singing some tunes for the Ultimate Jam Night back after the whole COVID hiatus. And then this weekend, I will be at Cobb's Comedy Club, 21st and 22nd, doing some stand-up. 1 show Friday, 2 shows Saturday. It's going to pack. It's a last-minute show. I'm filling in for somebody else who ditched out, so tell your friends. It's still going to be a full show and a good time. And then Monsters of Rock Cruise coming up as well. So, multimedia, many people call me the new Howard Stern with just a better general odor. But still both cool hair, and I have a better singing voice. And if I ever did Buttman, the suit would be more flattering. I'm just saying in those general sense. Yeah, but I didn't push him in as media. I just did that as a comedian who knows what the fuck he's talking about and bothers to read past the headline on stories. It's kind of my thing.
Give it the kind of review and examination and reportage that is necessary to hold them to account. The Democrat Party's all in. They could care less. They're so busy trying to fundamentally rejigger and re-engineer our own society in this country in a horrendous way. They've divided us. They've weakened.
You mean with yeah, because it would change our society entirely if people in Toledo and Wyoming and Phoenix and like in Des Moines and Davenport, Iowa, if all those folks could drive across a bridge without worrying or didn't have to spend $1,000 over the life of their car because they drove over fucked up highways. Yeah, that'll fundamentally try. Jesus.
Us.
Thanks,
They undermine our military with critical race theory. They undermine our cops. That's a story you're well aware of.
Oh, yeah. It's not, obviously, Biden ran against defunding the police and was elected largely because of that. But keep telling it. I'm sure it'll work someplace.
And this is the situation we're in right now, a country that's getting weaker, a culture that is splintering, a civil...
Yeah, so, by the way, just because you're breaking off doesn't mean the culture's splintering. Just because you want to check out doesn't mean the rest of us are in that same situation, by the way. And I've done this before, and I know it's kind of a jerk move, like, see if I have this. Like, I'll have to look through all these other. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. Hold on, just rando.
Mario, you're a great investor yourself. What do you think of market valuations where they stand right now, especially when you consider where interest rates are and when you consider what your alternative?
By the way, I'm only playing this to annoy Mark Levin.
Is if you're worried about inflation and keeping money in cash.
Well, I'm not going to keep money in cash. My mandate for my clients is that I'm not a wealth manager yet. We're migrating the public company into that methodology, but we are a equity manager. We're like the hospital for special surgery. You have a knee or a hip or some other dynamic. We take care of it. We're the best. So in terms of equities, we're saying the economy is extraordinarily robust. GDP in real terms is one thing, but my companies report in nominal terms. That is real GDP plus inflation. We're talking 10, 11, 12% growth rates in the economy. In addition to that, last year you had some, everyone became sensitive about costs. Even though costs are rising, they did examine costs. Then they deferred CapEx. So the balance sheets and the cash flows year to year in the first and second quarters are going to look significant. Now, in reading annual reports, you get a lot more with regards to where CapEx is going and how it's going to increase. So I'm pretty optimistic about the economy. Then the first half of 2022 will be strong because
they're prepping for the election midterms. And the notion of infrastructure, the notion of working on the climate with regards to transmission, the notion of putting money into making sure that companies stay onshore or reshore to the United States, those are all important elements. And then obviously wages will rise substantially. On top of that, the European markets
are taking a shit. What is he? Hold on.
Improve after we get the shots in the EU, and the year-to-year comparisons there. China's already doing well, and they're 18% of the world's GDP. The United States is 24%. Europe is going to come back. And then you get, at some point in time, some emerging markets like India and Brazil coming back. So you got to...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But according to... Sorry, Mark, what was that again? America sucks, and we're never going to be able to recover, and something shitty and bad. And by the way, on his off time, let's be abundantly clear. When Mark Levin isn't bullshitting his viewers on The Blaze and bullshitting people on Sean Hannity's show while he gets called the Great One and all that bullshit, lots of bullshit there. In between those things, he's a rich dude who has lots of investments, and he's watching this same shit and going, ooh, good. Ooh, good. Like, it's a friggin' joke. And again, this is like, what he's miserable about right here is not about the economy or the nation or any of this stuff, is that this guy is staring down the barrel of all of his predictions eating shit. That's why he's miserable. There's a single reason why Mark Levin is miserable. Is because he has to go to work every day and tell the same group of people that Biden sucks, America's fucked, and unless we get Trump back in there, the whole thing collapses. And he knows that's not a winning bet. He's stupid. He's not dumb.
And the delays and chip shortages will help the auto industry into 2020.
Oh, sorry. Whoops. Sorry. Biden is doing what he promised.
Society that's becoming uncivil, and the rest of the world sees it, including our allies. Taiwan sees it. They are under grave threat from communist China, the way Hong Kong was. Israel sees it. They're under grave threat.
No. Hong Kong is attached to the mainland. And was always, and since 1999, has returned back to control by the mainland. Taiwan's not. It's a totally different situation. But please continue, asshole.
Iran and Syria and other enemy countries in that region of the world, it's bad news.
For more, sign up.
It's bad news, I promise. That's why I did a whole segment. Back up for a second and understand what this asshole just put up on his channel. Because this is his clip, not mine. They posted this. This is the Mark Levin show. This is their clip. This is called Biden's Bloody Hands. This is selling a fucking narrative that this guy wanted to put out there. So I didn't take pieces of his show. I didn't watch the whole show and then grab a chunk that I thought was particularly damning. This is a piece that he put up that's exemplary of the quality, content, and worth of his show. And it's ass. It was mostly a video that I couldn't play because of the music cues and all that kind of stuff, and was like snuff footage. What a creep. And then he didn't even watch it. He just filled the time with it. He just... Now, I don't pre-watch these videos mainly just because I like flexing on them intellectually and not wanting you guys to think that I pre-heard the arguments or picked clips where I already know I can dunk on them. Because I think that's slightly unfair in this setup anyways. So I just, CSL presents these to me, and then I, because I watch other stuff, and then I just grab ones that I think will particularly kind of point to where the talking points on the right are going, so you can stare into the, the blinding light of it, and then go, oh, it's actually somebody blew this candle out a long time ago. So Levin posted this shit on Rumble as exemplary of his show and his channel about this stuff. And what it was 80% this fucking music video that he didn't watch, until he was watching it live. Like, so we got to watch this fucker do his pre-show work. And then he fills out the end with, remember Afghanistan? It's terrible. So I wonder what's going on there. Hasn't even checked. Again, no prep. Doesn't know what the fuck is happening. Hasn't been keeping up on it. Can't. Because if he keeps up on what's going on in Afghanistan, he'll recognize that it's largely, in terms of the United States position in the world, fairly good news. Is it a tough part of the world? Is there ongoing problems there? Yes. But that's true of a lot of countries. And Mark isn't suggesting we roll into fucking Ethiopia right now. He's not suggesting we drop peacekeepers and build a base in Kenya, is he? No. Even though you could argue that what's going on there is people in need of more help than certainly what's going on in Afghanistan even now. There's a full-on slaughters going on in those countries right now. But Mark's not suggesting we go in there. But suddenly, us not being there is bad, even though he supported Trump in large part because Trump ran on getting us out of Afghanistan. Trump set the date, got this dude out of a Pakistani prison, released 5,000 Taliban fighters who, all of whom have killed or tried to kill U.S. soldiers over the years. They kept their powder dry until we left. But ISIS-K and these other groups are going to be pushing back because it's really not a country. It's 12 tribal regions all stitched together by the bell maps. Are going to go back to doing what the fuck they've been doing for millennia. Wrestling for control and dividing up resources in a really difficult part of the world. And yet at the same time, because of because the organization, because the government we helped start, because the Afghans want to actually benefit from that skeletal structure, they need the international community to put meat back on the bones. And they're not going to do that unless they let girls go to school, don't kill people, start moving towards some sort of functional governing. But it doesn't require bullets and bombs. And we're not going to be a part of that. And we're out. After 20 fucking years, we're out. And I will say it again, the 13 soldiers that died and the others that were injured and the 250 dead there, although that may have happened elsewhere because it was ISIS-K fighting the Taliban, which happened, that's why it happened on the civilian side of the airport, because they were trying to scare people out of not leaving. The idea is that the Taliban might have let these ISIS-K guys get through and do this because they were worried about the brain drain and all the smart people who knew how to run things were all leaving the country, and the Taliban might have wanted to stop it. So they were that's why they got through, is the theory. But not that they were striking us. They wanted us out. Everybody did. And we're out. And we're staying out. And that's a good thing. And that's a problem for him. Because all he's got to sit on, all he's got to carry is, remember that thing that happened that was ugly at the time? That was always ugly, that had been ugly for a decade without any benefit to us or the Afghans, didn't move the ball at all. Arguably 13 years. That basically we were standing there holding a car up out of the mud while the tires spun for 20 years. And now we're out. Something Trump promised to do and couldn't do. You know why he couldn't do it? Because he was afraid to. Because everybody told him what happened to Biden was going to happen to him. No matter what, it's going to suck. We've been in there's no way you get out after 20 years without some mess. So he was like, fuck it. Let's just dangle. I'll do it maybe I'll do it when I'm leaving at the end because I don't have to get reelected. Push it. And he's even said the May date was bullshit. He said it at rallies multiple times. We've seen him do it. All right, moving on. Oh shit, we're getting out of time. Okay, I want to cover some of this because there's two arguments here, and we'll go to this one first. This is a recurring theme, and I think I, as a long-haired American, currently, I've been known to move my look around, but right now I'm enjoying this right now. I'm straight up. We're going like elven Qui-Gon Jinn, elf mullet, whatever, today. But one of the stories that you keep hearing from the right is that, and you've heard this from, of all people, ironically, Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro and fucking this dude, is that American men are just too weak. There's a crisis of masculinity in America. Men aren't masculine enough. And, we're just not. You know what I mean? We're all big girly men. This is the type of things that we're all just girly men, you know. And they've been talking about this shit for years. The feminization of America, blah, blah, blah. And there's 2 of these fucking videos up. This dude, Ken Blackwell, China wants to feminize the culture of America for control. Do they? How are they managing to do that? Is this a tofu thing? Is this a soy? Soy is the anti-masculine phytochemical, and therefore, yes. Not only did Ben Shapiro admit he can't satisfy his wife in a tweet, he literally had to go to Home Depot to buy 1 piece of wood.
I like wood.
So, it's hard to decide which one of these to do, but this one's, who's this asshole? I forget his name. It just says crisis of masculinity in America. Okay, whatever. This is, by the way, this is Real America's Voice. If you'll recall earlier, Mike Lindell called them Real America News, because who gives a fuck? They're not his organization, right? All he does is buy ads and keep them afloat. Right. So here you go. This is, remember, America has a crisis of masculinity. Thank God that these dudes, these examples of masculinity, these, will somehow be our guiding light of beefy, strong masculinity. If only I had a third of the musculature and V-taper that these guys have. So here we go. Let's see. Oh, this is an ad too. Yes, I do, but I'm not going to click on your stupid fake poll.
I want to bring in Steve Cortez. Cortez, is Ken Blackwell and Raynor Jackson right? Is this an attack, a full-on attack?
Oh, okay. So this is Ken Blackwell. This is after he said that China is attacking us and trying to turn our men into ladyboys, apparently.
On American manhood and masculinity. Is this one of the reasons you're seeing underneath the Gallup poll, you're seeing this massive 14-point shift, ladies and gentlemen, for people who identify as Republican? 14-point shift in 1 year when they've been in control. Talk about a no vote. The 1 year they've been in.
Yeah, that's because there's a bunch of independents that wouldn't identify as Republicans when Trump was in office because it was gross and fucking embarrassing, and now they're moving back. The same thing happened after Bush. After the second Bush administration, when he first got reelected a second time, Republican people calling themselves Republicans dropped off, and more independents who voted Republican every fucking time anyways, it didn't really matter, took their party affiliation down, and then percentage-wise, it went way up. Well, percentage-wise, they're already behind the 8 ball as far as the number of people in their party. So give me the hard number. Remember, again, anybody who tells you just the percentage number without giving you the baseline number, the actual numeric value, is selling you something.
Full control of everything. The American people spoke. Steve Cortez, what do you think?
Steve, I think you're exactly correct. There's a crisis of masculinity in America.
Is there? How could there be, Steve? With guys like you running around, being all butch and stuff? Look, I'm one of these folks that believes that males and females are within the scope of their material sex, have a lot of room to move in their expression. So I'm not trying to corral anybody into traditional views of manhood and masculinity and say that that's the be-all, end-all peg point on all these things. I know what I value. You know, mine goes somewhere between, you know, Conan and Bruce Lee, with Kiss and Steve Martin thrown in the middle. You know, that's where my needle moves. But are we really going to get lectured on the lack of masculinity in men? And when they talk about this, they mean traditional masculinity. These guys mean SEAL Team 6, you know, like chest cleavage, fucking barbed wire tattoos, you know, with the rutting power of a rhino and the sex appeal of Negan on a bender, right? We're not talking about what you and I might find is okay when in the spectrum of what people can be. These guys have a very distinct idea what that is. And I'm just saying neither one of them are anywhere near it. Not even trying. This fucking dude is going to tell me that men in the country aren't masculine enough. I know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the masculinity needle pegs at assistant principal for him. Right?
Our society and our politics right now, and men are thankfully finally reacting and revolting against it. I think it's one of the reasons, by the way.
Well, that is one of the areas where you guys are true, because both of these men are revolting. I know it was easy, but come on.
That yes. Donald Trump did so.
Oh, yeah, CSL, good point. 80s action movies. That's their idea of masculinity. Now, honest to God, in many ways, mine too. Like if I'm shooting for being my most masculine self, I'm going Rocky IV Cobra zone of things as far as what my, you know, physique would, you know, like the dream physique. I'm going, all right. Like that's what I would go for. And in theory, that's what this fucker thinks too. He supposedly, yeah, Rambo 3, man. Holy shit. The fucking sinew that he had. Yeah, Roadhouse, there you go. Right? All those things. Apparently, and this is, all right, so this is my current, I'm the same age as him. This is my current physique with mild improvements lately. I feel like I'm doing all right. I'm wearing black jeans and a green t-shirt, and I have a NASA wristband, and my hair is back in a half ponytail. This is how I'm existing. This is really me. Oh yeah, these do have that Chuck Norris stretch diamond in the leg, so you can kick high. This is a bit, you know, the whole like it's fun. They're good. They're good that way. Anyways, never mind. I'm gonna kick my lamp off the table. Yeah, Daryl's another one. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So this guy thinks that I myself am a soy boy lefty who is weak and wants everybody to be weak and blah, blah, blah. All right. That's it. And I'm how old, do we know how old Steve Cortez is? How old is Steve Cortez? Just as a comparative, just so I know what, yeah, let's see. Bio. That doesn't say. All right, where is it? Age. Let's just do this. Age. He's yeah, he and I are the exact same age. I am the same age as this dude. So he and I grew up with the same fucking yeah, he's 52. He and I are the same age. We have the same cultural references largely. And so I know exactly what movies he was watching when he was a teenager, just like I was, forming some idea of what it means to be, you know, a man or have some level of masculinity in your life, which I believe in tonic masculinity. I'm a big fan of it. I think I believe in the value of masculinity in the same way I believe in the value of femininity. I just happen to be male, and therefore I dovetail the best parts of my expression through that. That's my way of living. Allegedly, that's his too. Because like I said, he and I are the same age.
With Hispanics overall, but particularly with Hispanic men, because I believe culturally, many Hispanic men were very much drawn to this authentically masculine and unapologetically masculine figure, this kind of leader who was unafraid to display.
Wait. Donald Trump? You're kidding, right? Unapologetically masculine. This is what they were drawn to. Squirt, 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 squirt. That's what they were drawn to, were they? So, with the weird jogging legs thing. Yeah, is that what they were drawn to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You? Hey, how you doing? All those people. Nice. Squirt, 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 squirt. Milk that cow. Milk that cow. Milk. Yeah. Whatever that herky-jerky bullshit was. Yeah. Yeah, they were attracted to the, just the nonstop masculine oomph of the guy. Yeah, totally. What? That's what did it.
Machismo, which is a term that is used in Spanish. And to connect this to economics, Steve, regarding what's happening.
Is it machismo is used in Spanish? That's interesting. Is it used anywhere else? If only they used it in America. Amongst English speakers, perhaps it would catch on.
Men in America, workers in America, whether they're men or women, workers have been losing ground in terms of real wages for decades in America. But
not so fast, asshole.
The 1970s. But the losses are more pronounced for men than they are for women. So literally for more than a generation.
Because of automation. Hey, you know how many guys it used to take to carry a pallet before the invention of the forklift? Please continue.
And have seen their real wages decline with a very important respite when they did very well under President Trump. But the trend since the 1970s has been for men to earn dramatically less in real terms. When I was
in real terms, no, it hasn't. It fucking simply has not. The transfer has been in how people spend their money and what things are available to them at a new price point. The value of the dollar has gone up in what it materially brings you, even if its international buying power is somehow lower. It's just, this is fucking stupid. But all of a sudden, yeah, but Trump fixed it. I mean, not in any sustainable or legitimate way, or actually. Wages didn't rise when they are rising now.
Steve, when I grew up on the south side of Chicago, in a very working class neighborhood, the norm was for most families to thrive on a single income. Now, most of the time that was the dad working, doesn't have to be, but we took that as a given in American society, that a middle class income could comfortably support.
First of all, fucko, no. He and I are the same age. When we were both coming up, it was way common to have two working parents in the household. The fuck are you talking about? We're not talking about the 50s right after the war, you dipshit. It's Bosley.
A family. That is no longer the case today. It went away.
Oh, it's actually increasingly the case. That's why there's more jobs available than there are people. Because some of the people who've taken themselves out of the workforce, if you bother to look, are people who are like, yeah, I don't have to work. My partner's making enough. I'm raising the kids or doing a business at home, like an Etsy thing that I've wanted to start. I'm investing in another thing we're going to do. That's increasingly happening.
And Steve, we hardly even talk about it going away and what it has meant for our society. That's why I think it's so important for us to grab this as really, to me, the holy grail of economic populist nationalism in America is to empower American families, again, to thrive on one income. And Steve, this isn't patriarchy. I'm not saying women can't work, that they can't make their own economic choices. I'm saying, though, let's give families the option. And it may be the man and it may.
And again, what the fuck does this have to do with masculinity? Yeah, CSL. Like, we're both latchkey kids in the 80s. This is so weak. But the idea is that this has happened because men are less manly. That's the theory. Instead of outsourcing of factory jobs and the automation of those here at home and it requiring less physical labor. No, it's because China made us stop eating beef or something while they ate our beef.
Woman, but let's give them the option of thriving on a single income and a parent at home raising children. It was the norm in this country. Globalization ruined it. It can become the norm again if we're brave enough and bold enough to put these policies forward.
I want to take a second because I want to make sure.
Again, did you say what policies? Did he say any policies? What is it? No tofu policies? The fuck policies is he talking about? Trump's policies, which didn't result in this?
People understand your background. I love having you on because I say you're one of the smartest hedge fund guys that was one of the first Trump supporters from Wall Street. Very smart guy about markets, particularly what make markets drive. But about you personally.
Yeah, he's so good at it. He had to leave that lucrative business and become a campaign advisor and then write books and show up on TV rather than actually run one of those things.
I don't do enough of this on the show, but because President Trump, when you open for President Trump, oftentimes he says you're the waspiest Hispanic he ever met. The reason I love your Georgetown Great, but you're a boxer, you were a football player. I mean, you didn't come from privilege. You fought your way up, but you still box, or you still, at least, I think your wife put the kibosh on that, at least in the ring, but you still practice. Walk through.
Oh my fucking God. What? Okay, first of all, it was ridiculous at football and boxer. But secondly, your wife put the kibosh on you boxing. And again, what is this lecturing about masculinity shit again? What is happening? How is this even, how is this not an SNL sketch? Gee, how did you, oh God. Yeah, she wanted to, but I told her, fuck off. That's why I've had my nose broken 3 times.
And you're a guy that's full on high testosterone.
Yeah. First of all, Steve, no offense, but he's fucking with you. He doesn't actually think that. Look at him. He's laughing and writing a note. He covers when he's laughing at his own guests and shitting on them. He does it with Mike Lindell all the time. What the fuck are you talking about? Full on, what is that? Either of these guys discussing full on testosterone? What? How is this? This is fucking ridiculous.
Listen, America needs that kind of leadership. We need it at the national level, and of course, we need it on the micro level within families. We need men who, again, are unapologetic about being authentically
Yeah, don't even, like, if your wife tells you to stop boxing, just like, I'm a man. I never ask you to stop being a woman. Don't ask me to stop being a man. Right? You did that. Did you quote Rocky? Jesus.
And that doesn't mean domineering. That means leadership. It often means being a servant leader. You know this within your family, within your company.
Oh my God. This is the most watered down argument. Like, literally, I feel my balls shrinking just listening to this bullshit.
And within a country. And again, I think we've had a crisis in masculinity in this country to the point where it is largely censored to even acknowledge the fact that there are two sexes, much less the differences and the complementarity between the two sexes.
No, it isn't. It's that you guys can't do that without denying other people's existence at the same time. You don't believe in the strength of masculinity or femininity. You don't believe in either of them. Because if you did, you could accept them and express them without removing anyone else and their ability to live their own life. Like, because anytime you're doing that shit, you're just apologizing for masculinity and femininity in the process. Like, you can't have that because we can't have that. Nobody can have that. It's like, it's just so fucking lame. Also, servant leadership? What the fuck do you think Biden's doing? If he talks loudly and says it's about who counts the votes, then he's being mad and angry old man yells at clouds, even though he gives a shit about voting, which you should too, but you don't for some fucking reason. Good Lord. But, yeah.
Regain sanity. I think we're starting to, by the way, on this score. And again,
oh yeah, did it have something to do with like this artificially bizarre, like bloviated bullshit version of faux masculinity being tossed around as some sort of odd example of what it means to be a fucking man, when he's everything that is the opposite of manhood? So he's a 15-year-old boy. No offense to 15-year-old boys out there, but I was one and I know what you're going through. But you don't want to stay that way forever. And you don't want to do it when you have the power of an adult male. This motherfucker, this is masculinity, this is maleness. Maybe once he's no longer some sort of, again, a tuning fork for what you think masculinity is, maybe it solves itself. Oh, God.
I think candidates who are willing to be brave enough to stand up and say, number one, there are two sexes. And for example, we're going to defend girls and women's.
Well, there are two sexes. Transgender is a different phrase entirely. It has to do with gender, not physical sex. That's kind of the reason why the word transsexual isn't used very often, because you can't transition between sexes because it's a hormonal thing. That's hence the growth of the language around this. That's why the phrase is transgender now. That's why it's used most frequently. I know some, what most would call transgender people who prefer transsexual themselves, largely because when they grew up and how they perceive themselves and what it means to them, and because they disagree with the fluidity argument of gender, and they believe they are truly themselves. And therefore, when people go, well, gender's just a construct and it's watery and you can be a little bit of this all the time, they don't feel it. They feel it denigrates them as a trans person. So they stay away from that. That's their choice. And I respect them for that choice when they need that choice to be made for them. That said, they're fine with it being two sexes. They just believe they physically transition between the two. But again, that's why the phrase transgender. Again, this is so fucking stupid. And again, a distinction without a difference as far as these idiots are concerned, because the point is they just don't want trans people to feel comfortable.
sports, because this lunacy that's going on right now in the country is just an absolute insult to women. So that would be an example of how this matters from a policy perspective. But I think even more broadly to say that, look, for America to thrive again, we need to have strong families in America. We don't have strong families right now. One of the reasons, not the only reason, but a driving reason that we don't have strong families is because a single wage earner can no longer comfortably support a family in this.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Fuck you. First of all, up until the industrial age, everybody fucking worked. The whole family had to farm whatever patch of ground they had, or get eggs from the chickens, or fight off marauders and, all over wherever your tribe came from. Everywhere. How in the hell is this indicative of the strength of the family? And and again, strong families can't have two workers, two examples. A woman working and a man working, or two men and two women working aren't good examples to their children. The fuck does that mean? Both my parents worked. We had a strong family, though. Hold on. I need to check something else, too. Oh, and we're both from Chicago. He's slightly younger than me. His birthday was just January 1st. Let's see. So let's look at, while we're, we don't want to pick on one Steve. Let's pick, the other. Steven. All right, there you go. So, Steve Bannon is on his second wife? Third wife? He's let's see what we got in terms of what kind of strong family as Steve had. I'm sure that there's, lots of, let's see. The wiki, don't care. Let's see. Louis Picard was his ex-wife, his American political strategy banker, served as White House chief strategist, blah, blah, blah. Worked at Goldman Sachs as an investment banker for 2 years. Huh. Served as executive producer in Hollywood between 91 and 2016. It's just shuffling money around. Who is Steve? I guess is married on 3 different occasions and been involved in 3 divorces. Mary Louise Picard was the second wife of former Doland Trump advisor. All right. Steve and Mary walked down the aisle April 1995. Divorced 3 years is that first marriage. She's an investment banker there. Okay. So, well, that's her. That's his first wife or second wife? I don't know. Anyways, 3 wives. So he's had 3 strong houses. Steve Cortez only had 1 strong house. Way to go.
Country. That changed because of policy, Steve. It changed because of globalization and offshoring primarily. There are other factors, but those are the main ones. It was starting to reverse itself for the first 3 years of the Trump administration.
No, it was not. It has been starting to reverse itself since the mid-2000s. And it's accelerating now. But, COVID took something that was going to take 10 years and squoze it down to 3.
America First economic nationalism was working, and it was working on steroids. The CCP virus then, unfortunately.
Excuse me, real men don't take steroids. If you're, I don't recommend it. They make your balls smaller. Oh, Steve, I see. Sometimes you have blowback and they give you gynomasty or whatever it's called, where you get man boobs and all. Oh.
a halt, a temporary halt to that process. And now what Joe Biden's doing, which I know we're going to talk about, what he's doing to the economy is making things worse by magnitudes. But the point is, we know what...
But wait, sorry. Worse by magnitudes. Worse. We'll end on this because I like... This is from a site called Supply Chain Brain. This report says manufacturing is coming back to the U.S. So manufacturing's coming back, I guess it depends on who you ask. Strong evidence of a reshoring trend. The relocation of production from China and other parts of East Asia back to the United States can be found in the 2021 annual report of sourcing specialist Thomas. It contradicts the contention of some industry experts that China will remain the dominant source of manufacturing for U.S. importers of consumer goods for the foreseeable future. On this episode, we'll join by Thomas President, Chief Executive Officer Tony Uphoff, who offers numbers showing a dramatic increase in reshoring in the past year. Gee, when did this guy? August 11th, 2021. And 83% of surveyed companies say they're likely to reshore all or some of their production in the near future. If that happens, Thomas estimates it could drive some $443 billion in U.S. economic value over the next year. We've already talked about the battery factories for the electric vehicles. We've already talked about the chip factories that are coming back to the United States or starting from scratch here. And let me say something to our business friends out there. Thanks to COVID, and this was always going to work out this way in one form or another, but thanks to COVID in particular, drawing it into stark relief, that has zeroed out the economic benefit of offshoring to China. All the money made during the growth years from the mid-90s to 2018-19, before they started slowing down and we started, the rest of the world got hit. All of that, all those gains, all those financial gains, all those benefits were effectively wiped out in a year. It made it economically a zero-sum game. Hi, buddy. Chip came in because he knew I was supposed to be. Look who came in. Hi. He heard me talking about, hi, buddy. It's a wash. There was no benefit. And the idea is that if you look at the economic future of China as far as what they're planning, staying there is going to be the same problem. Staying there is, and hoping you'll make that same kind of money is I mean, nobody buys that. Nobody believes that. And so all that like, hey, look how much money we'll make if we build this cheaper over here. It cost you in the back end in COVID. It almost wrecked your company. And the U.S. government is not going to be there to pick up the pieces on that kind of supply chain stuff in the future, especially with the moves that we're making towards, reshoring or onshoring, important parts of the supply chain, namely pharmaceuticals, electronics, chips, that kind of stuff. There might be some reasons to assemble it in Mexico or in Canada, for example, or in South America someplace, because it's trucks and boats can bring stuff over here and we have a better relationship with those countries. But there is no there in a future of Chinese manufacturing for many, many companies. And not just because of this stuff, but because of the way the Chinese government looks like it's going over the next couple of years, over the next decade. So if you look at it financially from the bottom line of these big companies that have been around for a long time and intend on being around for even more, the money it cost them and how much it wrecked their position because of COVID and the idea that there won't be another one out of China because they're not changing what they're doing, much to the chagrin of the Chinese people. There's no reason to reinvest. None. I just froze that screen and just left it there. So the idea of like, you know, inflation driving the price of some of these things up, if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you, let's say you take out all the tax dollars that were spent, that could have been spent on other shit, just keeping the economy afloat. If you take out all the tax dollars that were spent making sure that, you know, shipping and all these other things could help you get stuff to you while you were in lockdown, and compare, and what that's going to cost you in terms of debt and restructuring and all that kind of stuff over the years, it's ultimately going to cost you a lot less to make it here and pay a little more long term. Yeah. We're chip manufacturers over here. Hi, Chip. Are you sleepy, boy? Are you a sleepy boy? You're a sleepy boy. I know you are. I'm sure this doesn't help the masculinity argument. Dudes with cats. What the hell's going on? Girly man with the cats, you know, gets a giant dog that doesn't even like to be petted, that still has its balls. Little boy. He's a good little boy. Chip is sleepy. He doesn't understand why I'm still in here. Because when I run late, he comes in to get me. Yeah. So, yes, real men kiss cats. This is true. So, let's finish this ridiculousness out. And I'll, on the morning show over the next week or so, we'll dive more into the Chinese economy stuff that I've been talking about, and you'll get a starker look at this. What are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? Hi. He's batting at wires.
We have those 3 years, 2017 through 2019, as data points to point to the success for families of the economic nationalist policies of America First. We can get back there.
If we get back there, people will lose money, stupid. Yes, real men do wear kilts. I have one myself. All right, I'm going to sign off. Thank you guys so much. I love you. Chip loves you. What are you doing, buddy? What did you want? Did you want to come in here and hang out with me? What's happening? What's happening? Am I ignoring you? Is that what this is all about? Are you feeling ignored? Yeah, you are. You need more ear scratches? This kid with the purring and the love. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're hungry, though. I bet that's what it is, too. Oh, that's it. Uh-huh. You want to go upstairs and get a snack? When I've been teaching him to respond to the Brad Pitt Once Upon a Time in Hollywood noise. Oh, that's exciting. And he's learning it. Did you see that? And I feed him, when I feed him snacks or I set him up in the morning, I make that noise, and I've been doing it for a while, and he's totally responding to it. It's super adorable. I'm training a cat, and he sits. He also fetches. He thinks he's a dog. So I'm kind of butch about it. All right, y'all. Anyways, much love to you guys. I'll see you later. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else, and I will see you. Thank you guys for the super chats. I'm sorry I didn't mention more of those today. They will be in the credits. I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe. Twitch.tv. I didn't reset at all this show. I'll get better. I'll get better at it. You guys can help me. Just remind me to reset when I don't. About every half hour. I think that works. Or at the top of a new clip. We'll figure it out. Anyways, much love. See you guys later. Take care. Bye. Say bye, Chip.